Hey guys, welcome back. Tonight, we're not just telling another story. We're stepping into a world where humans were insects and giants ruled the dawn of civilization. For centuries, whispers of the Nephilim, half angels, half men, have haunted ancient scrolls, forbidden scriptures, and the deepest ruins buried beneath our feet. Who were they really? Fallen angels of the Bible? Lost titans of prehistory? Or something far older? A race that walked the earth before the great flood erased their name. You'll follow their rise, their secrets of forbidden knowledge, and the storm that finally ended their age. From the mountains of Lebanon to the deserts of Egypt, from Genesis to the Book of Enoch, tonight we uncover the truth behind humanity's oldest giants and why you wouldn't survive 3 hours in their world. So before you get comfortable, take a gentle moment to like this video and subscribe, but only if these deep sleep history stories help you find peace, sleep better, or simply reflect on our shared journey through time. Now, close your eyes, let the sands of history settle, and listen as the world of the Nephilim awakens beneath your dreams.
Imagine opening your eyes and realizing the ground beneath you trembles, not from thunder, but from footsteps. Each sound is slow, distant, and impossibly heavy, like the pulse of the earth itself. You lift your head, but your breath catches. Before you, stretching into the fading amber light, are shadows, shapes so tall they seem to scrape the clouds. The air is thick, humming with something ancient. You blink once, twice, trying to understand. You are standing in a world where humans are no longer the tallest beings. Here, you are barely the height of a knee. Around you rise the remnants of a civilization forgotten by time. Massive pillars carved with symbols older than language, and the ruins of what might once have been a temple or a warning. The sun dips low, bleeding gold into the dust, and you sense a presence watching from beyond the hills. They are called the Nephilim, children of the union between the divine and the mortal. Giants who once walked the earth when the world was still young. Their stories were whispered in the Book of Genesis, echoed in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and buried beneath the sands of forgotten ages. Tonight, you'll walk among them, not as an explorer, but as a dreamer, drifting through memory. So before we begin, take a slow, deep breath. Inhale through your nose. Feel the cool air expand your chest, and exhale softly, letting go of every noise, every worry, every weight that does not belong to this ancient world. You are safe. You are still. The world around you fades into twilight blue. A breeze moves through the trees, carrying the scent of wild grass and stone dust. Crickets hum in the distance. Somewhere far off, something stirs, a low rumble that could be thunder, or perhaps something much larger breathing. Your heartbeat slows to match the rhythm of the earth. You take another gentle breath, deeper this time, and let your imagination stretch across the centuries. Let me take you back 5,000 years ago, before cities rose, before history was written, before memory itself had walls. A world where the sky was closer and the giants still roamed beneath it.
You begin to walk, your bare feet sinking softly into a carpet of moss and ancient dust. The air feels alive, thick with whispers that seem to come from nowhere and everywhere. Every step you take echoes slightly, like the earth itself remembers each movement. The trees here are colossal, their trunks wide enough to hide entire houses, their roots curling like the fingers of forgotten gods. The leaves shimmer faintly, as if absorbing the last light of the setting sun. Somewhere above, the wind sighs through branches that sound like the deep breathing of a sleeping giant. You pause for a moment, listening. There's a rhythm to this land, slow and patient, as if time itself has grown old here. The horizon stretches endlessly, but it's not empty. Silhouettes move in the distance, too large to be men, too graceful to be beasts, the Nephilim. Their steps shape the land, their shadows swallow valleys. They do not speak in words, yet their presence hums in the bones. Legends once said they built cities higher than mountains and carved rivers with their hands. But now, all that remains are ruins and echoes. You run your hand along a fallen pillar. Its surface is smooth, warm from the last kiss of sunlight. Strange markings twist across the stone, spirals, eyes, and shapes that resemble constellations. For a moment, your mind drifts. Were these the stars they once worshipped, or maps to places we were never meant to reach? A deep exhale escapes your lips, long and calming. You let the question dissolve like smoke. You're not here to solve mysteries. You're here to remember, to listen, to rest. You kneel beside the pillar, feeling the hum beneath the earth, slow and steady. It feels almost like a heartbeat, massive, ancient, kind. You take another breath, slowly in through the nose, out through the mouth, and let your shoulders fall. The sound of distant waves joins the wind, though you see no sea. Perhaps it's memory itself washing against the shore of time. The air glows faintly now, with a pale silver light. You sense movement again, something watching, not with malice, but with curiosity. A presence that feels both enormous and gentle. The stories say the Nephilim were fierce, yet some say they mourned the loss of their purpose. They were born from light, but lived in shadow. You wonder, just for a heartbeat, what they might have dreamed of.
Night falls slowly, as if the heavens themselves hesitate to dim the memory of such a place. The last streaks of amber fade into a vast indigo sky, scattered with stars brighter than any you've ever seen. The air cools, brushing softly against your skin, carrying the scent of stone, moss, and something faintly sweet, like ancient smoke or forgotten prayers. You sit beside the fallen pillar, and the earth hums again, deeper now, vibrating through your bones. Then a sound, not thunder, not wind, a low, resonant note that feels more like a heartbeat than a voice. It comes beyond the ridge, where shadows move with deliberate grace. You sense them rather than see them, colossal silhouettes gliding between the ruins, their steps so slow they seem timeless. One pauses. Even from afar, you can feel its gaze like a soft weight on your soul. The stories said the Nephilim were banished, half divine, half mortal, too great to belong to either realm. But here, under the silver light, you realize something deeper. They were never truly gone. The earth remembers them. The stones remember them. And now, so do you. You close your eyes, listening. There are whispers in the wind, fragments of a language not spoken for thousands of years. You don't understand the words, but their tone feels like longing. Perhaps they speak not to you, but through you, to the world that forgot them. A shadow moves closer. You hear the crunch of stone, the exhale of a creature so immense it bends the air itself. You should be afraid, but strangely, you're not. There's sadness in their presence, like meeting a ghost who never wanted to haunt. The Nephilim kneels, or perhaps the horizon lowers, until the sky itself seems to bow. You glimpse a face carved in moonlight, eyes like molten gold, skin marked with faint patterns of light, as if starlight runs beneath it. When they finally speak, the sound isn't through your ears, but inside your chest. It's a deep vibration that resonates with the rhythm of your heart. We remember, the voice says, not in words, but in feeling. And you must remember too. For a moment, everything around you slows. The air, your breath, even the beating of time. You feel both infinitely small and impossibly vast. Then, like mist, the vision begins to fade. The giant rises, turning away, merging once more with the night. The sound of their steps grows faint, like waves receding from a distant shore. You exhale softly, and the world grows quiet again. Above you, the stars shimmer, steady and eternal. Maybe they're the same stars the Nephilim once watched, dreaming of what they could never become. Take one last deep breath, in through your nose, out through your mouth, and let your mind drift. You've stood at the edge of myth, and the night now invites you deeper. Close your eyes. Let the heartbeat of the earth carry you where dreams are older than history, and giants still walk in silence.
The night deepens, and with it the silence begins to breathe. The stars stretch wider, forming shapes that seem too deliberate to be chance. You lie beneath them, half awake, half dreaming, as the voice of time whispers through the wind. Before the first kingdom rose, before men built walls and named the sky, there were watchers. The word itself feels heavy, like a memory buried beneath centuries of dust. In the ancient Book of Enoch, the watchers were angels, guardians of heaven, sent to watch over mankind. But as the story goes, they began to watch too closely. They looked upon the daughters of men and found them beautiful. Desire, once a thing of mortals, touched the hearts of the divine. One by one they fell, not from the sky, but from grace. They descended through clouds of silver fire, wings burning with both love and defiance. The earth trembled as they landed, their light dimming to the glow of forgotten stars. They were no longer watchers. They had become something else, wanderers of shadow and longing. The texts say they taught humankind many things: how to shape metal, how to read the stars, how to use herbs to heal and to harm. Forbidden knowledge, whispered in secret, gifted from those who had seen eternity. And from their union with mortals came the Nephilim, the giants, not merely tall in body, but vast in power, thought, and sorrow. They were said to be the children of heaven's rebellion, the living reminders of desire's price. The Book of Genesis 6:4 mentions them simply. There were giants in the earth in those days. Just a single verse, but enough to haunt the world forever. You imagine it now, the first dawn after their arrival, the watchers standing among humans, their eyes reflecting twin suns, their voices deep as thunder, the Nephilim growing beside them, half spirit, half flesh, walking through the valleys that trembled beneath their feet. Were they protectors or punishers? Teachers or warnings? The line between the divine and the damned had blurred, and humanity stood in awe beneath their shadows. The wind sighs again. You can almost hear their wings in the air,
a soft rustle, like ancient parchment turning in slow motion. The night invites you deeper into the memory. Take a slow breath in and release it softly. Let each inhale draw you closer to the world before the world, where angels still walked among men, and the stars remembered their names.
The story drifts deeper now, beyond the fall, into the fire of what came after. When the Watchers walked among men, their brilliance was both a gift and a wound. They carried knowledge like torches stolen from heaven, and in their compassion or their pride, they shared that light. They taught men how to draw metal from stone, to bend it into blades and crowns. They showed women how to mix herbs that could heal or harm, how to paint their eyes with the dust of stars to reflect beauty that could not die. They taught farmers to read the seasons by the constellations, builders to measure the earth by shadows, and dreamers to listen to the sky. But every lesson came with a price, for with understanding came hunger, and with creation came destruction. The world began to change. Cities rose too early. Wars began too soon. The Watchers had meant to enlighten humanity, but instead they awakened its ambition. The Book of Enoch speaks of Azazel, the brightest among them, who revealed the secret of weapons and war. It was said that when he forged the first sword, the earth itself cried out, for it knew blood would soon follow. Others taught enchantments, astrology, and the art of seduction, knowledge meant for gods, not mortals. And yet, beneath the stars, men and women accepted every secret eagerly, unaware that wisdom could burn brighter than flame. The Nephilim were born into this age of light and shadow. They were neither wholly angel nor human, and within them the tension of both worlds clashed. They were mighty, able to uproot trees, split stone, and outrun storms. But inside, they carried a silence heavier than mountains. They knew too much, too soon. They looked at the mortals who worshipped them with awe and fear, and sometimes with love. But love between the divine and the mortal never lasts. The heavens began to stir. The higher angels looked down and saw the chaos growing. Mankind was no longer humble, and the Watchers had broken the first law, to guide, not to rule. The punishment would come, but not yet. For now the nights were filled with light, fires from the forges, sparks from new weapons, and the shimmer of forbidden wisdom flickering like stars that had fallen too low. You lie still, listening to the echoes of that time. The air feels electric, humming with the memory of revelation. Take a breath, in slowly, hold it, and exhale. You can almost smell the smoke of iron, hear the whispers of angels teaching secrets to men under moonlight. And perhaps, for a moment, you understand why heaven wept.
Dawn came like a breath held too long, soft, hesitant, and trembling with light. The mountains glowed pale gold, and the rivers shone like liquid mirrors. The watchers stood among men, and the air around them shimmered faintly, charged with the echo of heaven. That was the morning the Nephilim were born. The first cries of the giants rolled across the valleys like thunder muffled by mist. The earth felt them before it heard them. Trees bent, stones shifted, rivers curved to meet their steps. They were vast, radiant, and terrifyingly beautiful. Creatures caught between realms, bound by blood that was both mortal and divine. Their eyes burned with the memory of stars, their hearts with the weight of two worlds. Humanity looked upon them in awe, unsure whether to worship or flee. The texts speak of them as heroes of old, men of renown, but behind the words there is a sorrow deeper than legend. For the Nephilim were born not from harmony, but from disobedience. They carried the burden of their father's rebellion and their mother's mortality. They were proof that heaven and earth could meet, but never without consequence. The sky began to darken even as the sun climbed higher. Clouds gathered, heavy and blue, as if the heavens themselves grieved. The Nephilim grew quickly, towering above all, their voices carrying far, their laughter shaking the air. But they were restless. The world was too small for their size, too fragile for their strength. In their eyes burned a hunger to know, to rule, to be loved by both heaven and earth. But love from both was impossible. The angels turned their faces away. Mankind bowed in fear. The Nephilim walked the lands like kings without thrones, their shadows stretching across oceans and deserts. Some built cities that touched the clouds, others carved mountains into their likeness. Their feet marked valleys that still remain today, hidden beneath centuries of soil. And yet, even in their power, they were haunted by silence. At night, when the stars returned, they would gaze upward, longing for a sky that no longer welcomed them. Their dreams were full of wings they could not wear, and light they could never touch again. The Book of Enoch says that when the Nephilim spoke, the air trembled with both beauty and despair. Their songs were said to make rivers stop and hearts weep without knowing why. Perhaps even then they sensed what was coming: the flood, the judgment, the end of the age of giants. But that night, as fireflies drifted and the wind cooled the earth, the world still belonged to them. The Nephilim stood under the stars, half gods, half ghosts, and for one fleeting moment, the universe felt whole. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. You have walked through the dawn of myth, through the birth of beings too great for the world that bore them. The night is quiet again, and the story waits, softly, patiently, for the next dream. The dawn in the age of the Nephilim was not like the dawn we know. It arrived in silence, an ocean of golden light spilling slowly over mountains carved by their own hands. The world still slept beneath mist and dew, but the giants were already awake. You could hear them before you saw them, the sound of a breath that bent the grass, the creak of a step that sent tremors through the valley. One Nephilim stirred beneath the shadow of a stone archway, a dwelling built not of bricks, but of entire boulders stacked with impossible precision. He rose slowly, his head brushing the lower clouds, his skin glimmering faintly like worn bronze in the sun. His eyes opened, not with haste, but with the patience of a being who has seen centuries pass like seasons. His name, long forgotten by men, once meant he who walks between worlds. He stretched, and the earth seemed to shift beneath him, pebbles tumbling like grains of sand from a god's hand. The morning air carried the scent of pine and clay, mixed with the faint sweetness of wild fruit crushed beneath his feet. He walked toward a pool formed by a mountain spring, kneeling to drink. The reflection that stared back at him was not monstrous, merely solemn. A face marked with wisdom and weariness, framed by hair the color of storm clouds. Around him, other Nephilim stirred. Some gathered at the edges of the forest, their laughter rolling like thunder softened by distance. Others lifted massive stones as if they were no heavier than bread. The valley echoed with deep voices, chanting, calling, remembering. They were builders, hunters, and watchers all at once, bound by strength but haunted by silence. As the sun climbed, light caught on the colossal structures that dotted the landscape, pillars taller than any tree, arranged in perfect circles. Their shadows moved like sundials, not marking hours, but centuries. No one remembers exactly why they built such monuments, perhaps to honor their divine fathers or to remind themselves that they still belonged to the sky. At their feet, rivers sparkled, and herds of giant deer moved like waves through grasslands that reached the horizon. The Nephilim hunted only when hunger called. Their spears were carved from cedar trunks, their arrows long as saplings. When they struck, the forest itself seemed to hold its breath. Yet when the kill was done, they always knelt, placing a hand upon the fallen creature, whispering a prayer of return to the earth. They were not cruel, they were reverent, for they knew that every life, no matter how small, was bound to theirs. From the hills, smoke rose, soft trails of morning fire. The scent of roasted grain and herbs drifted on the wind. The giants ate little, not from need, but from understanding. Their strength did not come from food, but from the pulse of the world itself, from the heartbeat of mountains and the rhythm of rivers. And as the morning passed, they watched the humans below, tiny figures, gathering water, tending fires, singing in voices too high for Nephilim ears to catch.
The giants never interfered, yet they watched with quiet fondness, like old guardians, unsure whether they were loved or feared.
As the sun climbed higher, the valley awoke with a sound unlike any other, a low, rhythmic vibration that seemed to rise from the earth itself. The Nephilim had begun their labor. To the humans who watched from distant hills, it looked like gods sculpting the bones of the world. They moved stones that no mortal could dream of lifting, each block weighing as much as a mountain's heart. Yet the giants did not strain. They worked in silence, in harmony, as if the stones themselves obeyed. The watchers from below could not see the secret. The Nephilim did not simply move stone, they sang to it. A deep resonance hummed through the ground, a tone too low for human ears, and the rocks shifted, softened, yielded. It was said that the frequency of their voices aligned with the pulse of the world, unlocking the hidden rhythm of matter itself. One by one, monoliths rose, fitting perfectly into place without mortar or tool. You could have slipped a feather between them and felt no air. Their temples touched the sky. Their altars faced the constellations their fathers once called home. Every line, every curve, every shadow was placed with purpose, to mirror the heavens above on the earth below. They built not for shelter, but for remembrance. Each monument was a prayer in stone, a way to speak with a sky that no longer answered. At midday, the light poured through the gaps between the pillars, forming beams that danced like living spirits. Birds circled in silence. Even the wind seemed careful not to disturb the sanctity of that place. The humans who came later would call these sites holy, never knowing who had truly built them. Some whispered that the stones hummed at night, still alive with memory. Archaeologists in our own time would find traces, massive cut stones in Lebanon, in Peru, in forgotten valleys where no civilization should have been. They'd measure, analyze, and speculate, but the truth would slip through their fingers like dust. The world once belonged to hands larger than theirs. As the day waned, the Nephilim stood back to watch their work. They spoke little, for the stones spoke enough. A single glance between them was like a conversation. They were not proud, they were patient. To them, creation was prayer. To build was to remember. And as the sky turned the color of copper and flame, they sat among their monuments, listening to the whispers of the wind as though it carried messages from heaven. The world felt quiet, balanced, vast. For a moment, you might almost believe that peace had found a home here. But peace among giants never lasts. By the time the sun began to sink, a golden haze settled over the valley. The Nephilim stood upon the cliffs, watching the world they had shaped breathe beneath them. Far below, human villages shimmered with small fires and drifting songs. Smoke curled lazily into the evening, blending with the mist that hugged the mountains. The giants rarely descended among men, but sometimes, when the moon was full and the air still, they walked the narrow paths down to the plains. To the humans, their approach was like a dawn that arrived too soon. Fields of grain bent in waves before their steps. The villagers would kneel, trembling, unsure whether to pray or run. Yet the Nephilim did not harm them. They spoke softly, voices like distant thunder rolling through clouds. They taught farmers how to carve terraces into the hillsides, how to call rain by aligning stones, how to read the stars to know when the floods would come. In return, the people brought offerings, baskets of fruit, jars of honey, and songs sung through tears. They saw the Nephilim not as monsters, but as living bridges between gods and men. But even bridges can break. Some humans grew fearful, whispering that these giants were no longer guardians, but fallen beings who had stolen fire from heaven. Priests warned that their presence would bring ruin, and kings began to dream of weapons large enough to wound them. The Nephilim saw it all in silence. They knew the cycle, how awe turns to envy and reverence to fear. And so they withdrew again, climbing back into the mountains to live among stone and cloud. Still, traces of their kindness remained. In hidden caves, drawings showed colossal figures teaching humans to grind grain, to weave linen, to build walls that could outlast storms. And scattered across the earth, archaeologists would one day find footprints, each as long as a man is tall, frozen in volcanic rock, surrounded by tools too massive for human hands. Science would call them anomalies. But deep inside, something older than reason would stir, whispering they were here. As night deepened, the Nephilim sat among the monuments they built, gazing at the stars that had once been their home. Between heaven and earth, they belonged to neither. Their greatness was their curse. They could lift mountains, yet could not lift the weight of loneliness. They could hear the whisper of angels, but were forbidden to answer. Sometimes, when the wind was still, they would hum, low, mournful tones that rolled through the valleys like forgotten prayers. Humans below would wake from their sleep, hearts heavy, dreams full of light and shadow. They'd never know why. The Nephilim would sit until dawn, eyes dimming as the first light touched the horizon. And somewhere in that fragile hour between night and day, heaven's gaze turned downward once more. But this time it was not with love, it was with sorrow. For peace among giants had ended, and the world was about to remember what it meant to fear the divine.
Imagine this. You open your eyes to a world that should not exist. The air is heavy, ancient, carrying the scent of rain and dust, older than civilization. Above you, clouds move like slow creatures, their shadows crawling across mountains so vast they seem alive. The ground beneath you is warm, vibrating faintly, as if something large just passed by. You're not dreaming, but you wish you were. You've somehow awakened in the age of the Nephilim. The first thing you notice is scale. Everything towers. Trees stretch hundreds of feet, their roots like veins in the earth. Rocks the size of houses lie scattered as if dropped by careless gods. The horizon feels impossibly far, and the sky too close, pressing down with weight. You take a slow breath. The air is sharp, filled with a low hum, an invisible rhythm that your body doesn't quite understand. You listen. Birds call in deep, echoing tones, their wings heavy and slow. Somewhere in the distance, something moves, a tremor through the ground, like thunder crawling closer. A Nephilim. You see it before you hear it clearly. A silhouette against the morning mist, 3, maybe 4 meters tall, its steps shaking the valley floor. It's not looking at you yet, but every instinct screams, hide. You move quietly, slipping behind a fallen trunk. The bark is thick as armor, cold beneath your fingertips. You press yourself low, heartbeat pounding. The sound of the giant grows nearer, a rhythm of earth and breath, steady, ancient, alive. You catch a glimpse of its face through the leaves, human, but not quite, too symmetrical, too solemn, eyes glowing faintly like moonlit amber. It carries a spear longer than a tree, dragging it lightly through the grass. You hold your breath. The wind shifts. It stops. For a heartbeat, silence reigns. Then, mercifully, it turns away, vanishing toward the ridge. You exhale slowly. The danger has passed, for now. But this world is not kind to humans. You are small here, fragile, temporary. Every sound matters. Every movement could mean life or death. You decide to move toward higher ground, searching for shelter. The path is lined with ferns taller than you. The air grows damp. A stream flows nearby, its water crystal clear, cold as moonlight. You kneel to drink, feeling it cool your throat like a promise. Yet as you drink, the ground trembles again, this time not from footsteps, but from something heavier. A low roar rolls through the trees, deep and primal. The sound doesn't belong to any animal you know. Somewhere close, leaves rustle like the breath of something huge. The Nephilim are not the only giants in this world.
You keep moving through the forest, careful not to disturb the silence that feels older than speech. Every sound seems magnified, the rustle of leaves beneath your feet, the rhythm of your breath, the whisper of the wind through branches thick
as pillars. The air hums with tension, the kind that makes your skin prickle before your mind can name the danger. Somewhere in the distance, a deep growl rolls through the trees. It's not the Nephilim this time. It's something else, something alive before memory. You crouch behind a root taller than yourself, eyes scanning the forest edge. The underbrush shifts, and you glimpse it, a creature the size of a carriage, its hide layered with scales like old bronze, horns curving back like the roots of an ancient oak. Its nostrils flare, tasting the air. You hold still, heart pounding. The creature lowers its head to drink from the stream, unaware of you. Its tongue flicks out, rough and black, stirring the water. The sound alone could fill a canyon. For a moment you let yourself breathe. It's magnificent, terrifying, but magnificent. And then from somewhere behind you, a snapping twig. Your muscles freeze. The creature lifts its head. It turns, eyes narrow, and the ground seems to shift beneath its weight. You don't think, you run. The forest explodes with motion, branches snapping, soil flying. You weave through trees, lungs burning, the beast roaring behind you, a sound that shakes your chest from within. You duck under a fallen trunk, slide into a hollow space between roots. Mud coats your hands and face, cold and damp. You press your mouth shut, forcing your breath silent. The roar fades, replaced by the rhythmic sound of the creature sniffing the air, searching. It's close enough that you can smell it. Earth, iron, and decay. Minutes pass. Then slowly it moves away. You wait longer until silence feels real again before crawling out. Your body trembles, but the forest feels strangely alive now, aware of you. You find a clearing and collapse beneath a tree. Above, the canopy sways gently, sunlight glimmering in through fragments. You breathe in the scent of moss and pine. The sow, you're safe for now. The forest answers with quiet. Birds return. The wind softens. You take stock. No food, no weapon, no shelter. The sun has passed its peak. Shadows grow long, and the temperature drops. You'll need to find warmth before nightfall. You follow the sound of trickling water deeper into the valley. The terrain dips, revealing a series of stones arranged unnaturally. Too straight, too deliberate. A Nephilim ruin. It might offer shelter. You step carefully through the archway. Inside, the air is cool and still, thick with dust and memory. Strange carvings line the walls, hands, eyes, stars. You touch the stone, it vibrates faintly, as if remembering the touch of something divine. You settle in a corner, wrapping your arms around yourself, listening.
Outside, the wind picks up again. The forest whispers. The sun fades. And far off, too far to see, a deep echo answers the night.
Night falls like a slow wave, swallowing the valley in layers of silver and shadow. The ruins around you glow faintly, as if the stones themselves remember moonlight. You sit in the hollow of a broken pillar, arms wrapped around your knees, listening. The air hums softly, wind through cracks, water whispering somewhere below, leaves brushing each other like quiet conversations. You can no longer tell if the deep sounds outside are thunder or footsteps. The Nephilim move mostly at night. You imagine them now, walking through forests that glow with the breath of stars, their silhouettes half dream, half mountain. Their eyes catch the faintest glimmer of firelight, and sometimes, only sometimes, they stop, as if sensing something fragile watching from the dark. You close your eyes, pressing your back against the stone, trying to slow your heartbeat. Breathe, you whisper. You're safe. It's only imagination. A soft rhythm joins the wind, the sound of water trickling near the entrance. You crawl toward it, careful not to disturb the dust. Outside, the forest is alive but hushed. Fireflies float like drifting embers, lighting the outline of ancient trees. The stream catches the light, silver and fluid, cutting through moss and roots. You kneel and cup your hands, drinking slowly. The cold water tastes of minerals, age, and silence. As you drink, a distant call echoes through the night, a low, mournful tone that vibrates in your bones. You freeze, the sound lingering like a memory. It's the Nephilim again, but they're not near. It's a chant, or maybe a prayer. Long notes rising and falling in perfect intervals, filling the night with the weight of lost language. You listen. It's not frightening. It's beautiful. The world feels sacred, like you've stumbled into the last dream of something divine. Above, the stars blaze brighter, as if answering the call. Their light paints the ruins in shifting patterns, forming shapes you almost recognize: hands, wings, eyes turned toward heaven. The chant fades, replaced by the steady chorus of nocturnal life, insects clicking, a bird calling softly, wind weaving between pillars. You return to your corner, lying on the cool stone. The air smells of pine and forgotten rain. You pull your cloak tighter, though it's only your arms, and stare at the ceiling that once touched the sky. The silence now feels safe, like the world is holding its breath just for you. You think of home,
its smallness, its safety, and for a moment the distance between worlds dissolves. You are human again, and that is enough. You let your eyelids grow heavy. Outside, something moves, massive, slow, but it doesn't come closer. Perhaps it's guarding you. Perhaps it doesn't even know you're there. Either way, you're safe. The last sound you hear is the whisper of wind over stone, carrying a single truth from the age of giants. Even the greatest beings once sought rest. Take a deep breath, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Let the sound of wind and water cradle your mind. You are safe here. It's only imagination. Sleep now, and let the world of giants fade into the quiet of dreams.
The night after the flood of fear had passed, the world grew quiet again. But beneath that stillness, something vast lingered. Knowledge, hidden, waiting. The Nephilim were not only giants in form, they were giants in thought, in vision, in the art of knowing the universe. When the heavens were still open to them, they had studied the stars as one might read a diary of the gods. Each constellation, each shimmer in the black, told them where storms would rise, where metal slept within the earth, and how the tides of time curved like a river unseen. They built stone observatories long before humanity learned to count the months. The circles of rock that remain at Baalbek, at Göbekli Tepe, at places still nameless, were once their instruments, not for worship, but for understanding. The stars were their language, and the sky their library. They mapped not only constellations, but paths of power, the invisible lines where heaven's breath met the pulse of the ground. And through those alignments, they learned to draw energy from the earth itself. Light, warmth, resonance. It was not called magic then, only balance. You can almost imagine it. Vast temples built not for kings, but for silence. Ceilings carved with silver stars. Priests humming in tones that matched the rotation of the heavens. At dusk, when the air cooled, the stones would sing, softly, lowly, vibrating in harmony with the sky. This was the world's first symphony. The Nephilim believed that every sound had shape, every vibration had meaning, and that knowledge was not learned, it was remembered. When they forged metal, they whispered to it. They knew how to call out the sleeping soul of ore, turning it from dull stone into shimmering life. Gold was not for wealth, but for memory. Iron not for war, but for resonance. Their weapons, when forged, were symbols more than tools, blades that hummed faintly in air, glowing when truth was spoken near. Some said they could cut not flesh, but lies. In their hands even metal was alive. When humans watched them work, they called it sorcery. But the Nephilim only smiled. For them knowledge and spirit were one. They saw no boundary between science and the sacred. They saw the pulse of creation in everything, the hum of water, the sigh of wind, the heartbeat of stone. Even now, deep beneath the ruins, fragments of their machines lie buried, circles of polished basalt, magnetic stones that still hum faintly when touched, shards of crystal etched with patterns no hand remembers. The world calls it coincidence, but sometimes, on quiet nights, when stars burn bright and the air feels older than time, the earth itself seems to whisper, telling us that nothing truly disappears. Knowledge does not die. It only sleeps, waiting to be found again.
In the age before the flood, the line between science and sorcery was not drawn in the sand. It flowed, soft and seamless, like mist between mountains. The Nephilim lived in that space, between knowledge and spirit, where discovery was devotion and creation was prayer. They called their craft sacred science, not because it belonged to gods, but because it honored them. Every forge was a temple, every experiment an offering. When they worked with metal, they believed they were shaping echoes of the stars. They whispered to molten gold, sang over silver, and cooled iron in moonlit water so it might remember the calm of the heavens. Their tools were alive with vibration. They claimed each material held a frequency, a song, and if one listened long enough, the universe would hum back. The art of metallurgy as we know it was born in their hands. But their understanding went far beyond fire and stone. They knew of magnetism, resonance, and the way sound could alter the form of matter. They spoke to stone using tones that could lift it from the earth. They tuned their temples like instruments, every column, every beam placed at an angle that sang with the wind. When night came and the sky shimmered, those structures would hum softly, a harmony that soothed even the restless hearts of men. Humans mistook it for magic, but it was science, guided by reverence. And within this sacred science lay the foundation of their medicine. The Nephilim understood that the body, too, was an instrument, strings of energy vibrating with life. Illness, they believed, was dissonance. To heal was not to cut or burn, but to restore rhythm. They used sound, tones produced by crystal bowls, wind flutes, and resonant stones to calm storms within the flesh. The healer's voice itself was medicine.
They would place their palms upon the sick, hum in low harmony with the heartbeat, and slowly pain would quiet. Modern ears might call it impossible, but in their world it was natural because all things, from the smallest seed to the largest star, shared one pulse. Some scrolls, long since turned to dust, spoke of their greatest art, the prolonging of life. Not through elixirs or potions, but through balance. They believed that when a soul lived in harmony with its surroundings, when breath matched the rhythm of wind, when thoughts flowed like water, when actions carried the stillness of stone, then death lost its meaning. The oldest among them did not die. They simply walked into the mountains and became part of the rock. Their energy folded back into the world, glowing faintly beneath moss and moonlight. Even now, in places where ruins meet forest, the air hums slightly different, warmer, softer, alive. Perhaps it's the memory of them. Perhaps it's something still watching, still teaching. The Nephilim called it the eternal breath. We might call it spirit, but maybe it's the same thing.
There came a time when the sky grew restless. Clouds thickened like bruises. The air changed its weight, and even the stones began to hum in warning. The Nephilim, who once read the stars, now saw the heavens close their eyes. The constellations they had charted for millennia flickered out, one by one, as if the universe itself turned its face away. They had gone too far, so the stories say. Knowledge became pride. Creation became control. The watchers who had taught them no longer whispered from above, but wept, for their children had learned to touch the divine without reverence. And so the world prepared to wash itself clean. Rain began not as droplets, but as memory. The rivers rose like serpents, twisting across the valleys. Mountains split, and the seas forgot their boundaries. The temples of light and sound, those harmonies of stone and sky, trembled and fell. The great forges hissed as fire met flood. The libraries carved into rock dissolved into mud. And yet, even as the world drowned, some of the Nephilim stood still, looking upward, knowing this was not destruction, but silence. Their knowledge could not be burned, only buried. They sang one last time, not to the stars, but to the earth, a song of preservation, a plea for memory, a promise that truth would sleep beneath the waves. When the floodwaters finally withdrew, the world was new. The survivors, small and trembling, emerged into a silence that was too large. They looked upon the scattered stones and broken monoliths and did not understand. Generations passed and stories became myth. The Nephilim faded into shadow. Giants turned to legends. Their temples mistaken for tombs, their words misread as warnings. yet their fingerprints remained in the patterns of the stars, in the hum of quartz, in the inexplicable perfection of ancient architecture. Even now, when scientists study vibration, frequency, and energy, they touch unknowingly upon the same truths the Nephilim once knew: that all things are connected by sound, by rhythm, by resonance. Some call it physics, some call it prayer, but perhaps it is both. Because the song of the Nephilim was never about domination, it was about remembering. They believed knowledge was a circle. What is forgotten returns. What is lost will rise again when the world is ready to listen. And maybe tonight, as you breathe softly and let your thoughts drift like rivers through time, you can feel it too, that quiet pulse under the noise of the world, waiting. The same hum they once heard under the stars. The same whisper that built the first temples. The same truth that still lives in us. Nothing is lost. It only sleeps. Breathe and listen. The end did not come suddenly. It arrived slowly, like dusk creeping across the mountains. Quiet at first, almost gentle, until you realized the light was gone. The Nephilim had built cities that touched the clouds, towers that gleamed with metal unknown to man. They had forgotten humility. The earth beneath them had grown tired of their weight. The first sign was the wind. It changed its voice. Once soft and obedient, it began to moan through the valleys, carrying dust instead of fragrance. Birds fled long before the storms arrived. The rivers swelled as if breathing too deeply, and the trees bent under invisible hands. Then the sky began to darken, not with ordinary rain clouds, but with something thicker, older, clouds that carried memory. The light took on a strange hue, not gold or gray, but greenish, like the deep ocean before a storm. The Nephilim looked upward and saw the heavens turning restless. Their astronomers, those who once spoke the language of stars, were silent. The constellations no longer aligned. The patterns that once predicted harvest and calm now warned of ruin. The earth began to shake. At first it was distant, like the murmur of something waking, but soon the tremors deepened. Temples split and mountains roared. The great statues of kings, each carved in their own colossal image, fell one after another, cracking upon the ground that no longer obeyed them. The Nephilim gathered in their halls of stone and light, calling upon the watchers, their ancient teachers, but no answer came. Only the sound of wind, low, long, endless, moving through the empty corridors like breath through a tomb. Legends say even the sky wept that night, Lightning tore open the clouds, revealing a light not of sun or moon, but something greater, pure, merciless, holy. The Nephilim melt, for they knew. They had heard of this moment from the first song, the one their fathers had forbidden them to forget. The flood was coming, and with it, judgment. The humans who lived beneath their shadow ran to the mountains, clutching their children, their prayers, their fear. But where could they go when even the ground betrayed them? Stones rolled like waves. Fire rose from the cracks of the earth. The air smelt of salt and sorrow. And somewhere, deep within the sea, the water began to move. Slowly at first, then faster. It was as if the ocean itself had awakened from a long dream and remembered its power.
The rain began as a whisper, soft, uncertain, like a prayer trembling on the edge of memory. Then it grew. The sound thickened, filled the valleys, and became the heartbeat of the world. The sky broke open. Water fell in sheets, endless and silver, drumming against the earth with the rhythm of divine anger and divine sorrow combined. The Nephilim stood upon their terraces, watching their cities blur into rivers. The humans below cried out, not to the gods, but to the mountains themselves, as if stone might have mercy where heaven did not. Lightning flashed, revealing the enormity of it all. Seas swallowed the shorelines, forests twisted and fell. The air itself turned liquid. It was said that for 40 days and nights, the sound of rain never stopped, not once. But sound was not the only destroyer. Beneath the waves, the earth tore itself apart. Volcanoes roared into the storm, spilling fire into the flood, painting the skies with ash. The smell of burning salt filled every breath. The Nephilim tried to resist. Some fled to the peaks, carrying relics of knowledge, crystals, scrolls, stones that sang when struck. Others waded into the storm, believing their strength could part the waters. But even giants cannot fight the sky. One by one, their voices vanished into the roar. Their cities crumbled beneath the weight of the ocean's hand. And yet, legends across the world remember them. In Sumer, they were called the Anunnaki, divine beings drowned in the wrath of Enlil. In the Hebrew scrolls, they became the Nephilim, those who fell when the flood cleansed the earth. In Greece, they were Titans, swallowed by the sea. In India, the flood of Manu echoed the same sorrow, the gods washing away the pride of their creations. Different names, same memory. A world too proud, reminded of its place. Somewhere amidst the chaos, a single vessel endured. a small wooden ark, fragile but faithful. Within it, life waited, trembling but alive, and the waters rose higher still. Mountains vanished beneath the waves. The horizon became an unbroken ocean, endless, moving, breathing. And then, just as it began, it slowed. The rain softened. The thunder retreated into silence. The world exhaled. What was once fury became stillness. The surface of the water reflected the clouds above like a mirror of grief. And floating upon it, splinters of trees, shards of stone, and the fading echoes of a world that had been too magnificent to last.
When the rain finally stopped, silence came, not empty, but full, the kind of silence that breathes, the kind that remembers. The waters began to fall back, slow as forgiveness. Mountains reappeared like ghosts, their peaks silver under a winded sky. The survivors, few, scattered, trembling, stepped out into a world that no longer knew their names. Everything familiar had been washed away. The towers, the temples, the shining roads. Only fragments remained, half buried in mud. Stones carved with symbols no one could read. Broken discs that once sang when struck. Glimmers of a language the wind had forgotten. The Nephilim were gone, or almost gone. Some say a handful survived, those who had fled to the highest mountains, or deep beneath the earth, where the waters could not reach. In the deserts of the world, among the salt plains and ancient cliffs, travelers still tell of skeletons too large for any man, lying where no human should have walked. Others whisper that the survivors mixed with humankind, their blood thinning through the ages, leaving behind echoes rather than bodies. Perhaps in every great builder, in every poet who stares too long at the stars, in every child who dreams of touching the heavens, there sleeps a trace of them. The age of giants ended, but their memory endured, changing shape with each telling. The Sumerians called them gods. The Greeks made them myths. The Hebrews turned them into warnings. And yet, in every story, the tone is the same: awe and loss. A sense that something magnificent once stood here, and that we are only the dust of its shadow. Time buried their knowledge, but not their presence. You can still feel it if you listen carefully. In the deep hum beneath mountains, in the stillness before a storm, in the strange geometry of ancient ruins, where every line points not to power, but to longing, the longing of those who once touched the divine and fell,
And so their legacy became our search for meaning, for creation, for the stars. Maybe we were never meant to forget them entirely. Maybe we carry them, not in flesh, but in our desire to reach beyond what we are. When you close your eyes tonight, imagine the sea still moving beyond the horizon. Imagine the waves whispering stories older than time. Imagine the last of the Nephilim standing on a lonely shore, watching the dawn return for the first time after 40 nights of darkness. The world is quiet again. The water shimmers with soft light. The air smells of renewal. Breathe in, breathe out. You are safe here. The giants are gone, but their echoes remain in the wind, in the stone, in your heartbeat. Listen closely. The waves are still singing beneath the stars. Now sleep.
The wind today feels older than it should. It carries dust that once rested on forgotten bones, on broken cities, on memories the earth has tried to hide. Archaeologists dig into the silence, brushing away centuries with soft strokes, and sometimes, just sometimes, they uncover something that doesn't belong. A jawbone too large, a femur thicker than a man's arm. Tools carved from stone so heavy no ordinary hands could have lifted them. The scientists hesitate. They measure, they catalog, they explain. But deep down, a quiet unease stirs because the size of these relics whisper of a world we are not ready to remember. In the deserts of Lebanon, beneath the sunburnt stones of Baalbek, stand blocks so massive they defy reason, each weighing hundreds of tons, each placed with precision no crane could match. The ancients say giants built them. The moderns say slaves, levers, time. Yet none can explain how the stones sing when the wind passes through. In England, the circles of Stonehenge still hum faintly at dusk. People come to meditate there, not knowing they're standing on a memory of sound, a resonance once used to measure the heartbeat of the earth. In Egypt, the pyramids rise sharp against the sky, perfect beyond decay. Beneath their foundations, tunnels stretch like veins, whispering of a forgotten machinery that once hummed in rhythm with the stars. Across continents, patterns repeat, the same geometry, the same impossible craftsmanship, as if scattered pieces of a single dream. Some call it coincidence, others call it inheritance. What if it is both? What if these sites are not mysteries to solve, but memories to awaken? There are bones in museums now, stored in quiet drawers, labeled as anomalies. Too long, too thick, too human to dismiss. Farmers still tell of finding skulls with double rows of teeth,
of footprints fossilized in volcanic ash, each the length of a man's torso. These stories fade, rewritten by skepticism and dust. But sometimes, in the stillness of excavation, a worker pauses, looks at what he's uncovered, and whispers, "Who were you?" No one answers, yet the question lingers like incense in the air. The earth remembers. It keeps everything, the stones, the silence, even the weight of forgotten footsteps.
Long after the waters receded, stories began to grow like wildflowers from the mud. They bloomed in different languages, under different skies, yet all spoke of the same beings, tall, radiant, terrible, and kind. In the north, among the misty fjords of Scandinavia, people told of frost giants who shaped the mountains and drank from rivers of light. Their breath became the storms, their bones became the cliffs. The Norse called them Jotnar. In the far sands of Africa, elders spoke of the Zimwi, giants who walked before the first tribes, teaching them the names of stars and the way to call rain. In Central America, the Mayans carved the tale of Itzamna, a sky being of immense stature who taught men to build and write, before retreating into the heavens when pride returned. In Greece, the Titans had fallen. In the Pacific Islands, the Tangaroa gods rose from the sea. And in the valleys of Asia, from the steppes of Mongolia to the jungles of Vietnam, old legends whisper of ancient kings whose height brushed the canopy of trees, and whose hearts, it was said, glowed with the fire of the sun. The details changed, but the memory was the same. Once, the world was shared between giants and men. Maybe that's why mountains feel alive, and why rivers seem to hum in the dark. Myths remember what history forgets. Some scholars dismiss them as coincidence, parallel invention born of human imagination. But when every culture dreams of the same figures, when every continent keeps the same silhouettes in its oldest stories, perhaps imagination is not invention, but inheritance. The giants became metaphors, guardians, demons, saints. They became reflections of human longing to rise, to reach, to matter. And maybe that is the truest memory of all, not of their bodies, but of their spirit. The Nephilim were not just tall, they were awake. They lived with the awareness that everything was connected, sky to sea, stone to heart, sound to soul. That is what myths have preserved, the understanding that power without humility leads to ruin, but knowledge with reverence leads to harmony. So even when the scholars debate, when believers and skeptics raise their voices, the earth stays quiet, patient, unchanged. It doesn't argue. It knows what it saw. Sometimes, when the wind moves through a canyon or over a temple ruin, it sounds almost like laughter, low, ancient, familiar, as if the giants are still here, smiling through time, waiting for us to remember not their size, but their lesson.
Science says memory lives in the mind. But what if the body remembers too? Every cell carries a story, written not in words, but in vibration, in rhythm, in light. The DNA that spins inside you has survived storms, fire, and silence. It has crossed oceans of time, carrying whispers of ancestors who once looked at the same stars you see tonight. Some researchers have found traces of ancient genes, fragments that seem older than civilization itself. They say these are echoes of forgotten species, long gone. But others wonder, what if they're not gone? What if they are simply sleeping within us, like embers beneath the ash? The Nephilim may have vanished from the earth, but perhaps their essence, the awareness, the connection, still hums in our blood. When your heart beats faster at the sight of mountains, when you feel small, yet strangely vast beneath the night sky, that might be memory speaking, the memory of scale, of wonder, of being part of something immense. Modern science calls it ancestral imprinting. The ancients called it soul resonance. Different words for the same truth. What came before still lives within what is now. Our bones are libraries. Our blood is an ocean that remembers every tide. You can see it in how we build. We still raise monuments. We still carve stone to chase the sky. Every skyscraper, every cathedral, every song about reaching higher, it's the same impulse, written in the language of progress. But perhaps it's not ambition. Perhaps it's remembrance, and longing older than words. Some scientists look for proof in genomes, but maybe the proof is in how we dream. Dreams are the last bridge between what we know and what we once knew. And maybe, somewhere deep in that quiet space between breaths, you still carry the echo of the giants, not as a legend, but as a feeling. Not of fear, but of calm strength. A reminder that power and peace can live in the same heart. So as you lie here listening to the slow drift of time, let your thoughts soften. Feel your body breathe. The universe inside you is old, wise, awake. It remembers.
You open your eyes, and the world is quiet again. No thunder, no flood, just the hum of your own breathing in the stillness of night. The story of the giants fades like mist, but something of it remains, an echo, soft and steady, somewhere behind your ribs. You're back here, in the present, yet part of you feels older, as if your soul has walked through centuries and returned home. Do you remember how it began? Could you survive 24 hours in their world? That was the question. And now, maybe you realize it was never about surviving them. It was about surviving yourself. The Nephilim were immense, not only in body, but in presence. They lived fully aware of the world around them, the sound of water, the weight of wind, the pulse of earth. In their story lies a mirror, the reflection of what happens when power forgets humility and when creation outgrows compassion. But you are different. You have the memory of their fall and the wisdom of time. You are the quiet that comes after the storm. The rain no longer drowns, you breathe through it. The shadows no longer scare, you understand them. As you listen now, you can feel your heartbeat syncing with something older, deeper, a rhythm that connects you not to fear, but to peace. The same stars that watched the Nephilim still hang above you. The same moon still moves the sea. The world has changed its shape, but not its song. You are part of that song. Every breath you take is a note, every thought a ripple in the endless ocean of memory. The past is not behind you, it lives within you, reshaped into awareness, into calm. So take another slow breath. Inhale through your nose, hold it gently. Exhale through your lips. Let your shoulders soften. Let your chest loosen. Let gravity pull you not down, but inward, toward rest, toward safety, toward stillness. There is nothing left to fight. The giants are gone, and the night is kind.
What then did we learn from the Nephilim? Maybe that strength without peace is only noise. That height means nothing if it casts no shadow of kindness. The giants fell, not because they were cruel, but because they forgot balance between knowing and feeling, creating and caring. They built wonders that pierced the clouds, yet their hearts drifted away from the earth that gave them life. And so the flood came, not as punishment, but as correction. The world whispered, "Remember where you came from." In that whisper lies the same lesson we face today. We too build towers, skyscrapers, empires, digital worlds of glass and light. We rise higher every century, yet somehow we forget how to be still. The lesson of the Nephilim is not a warning carved in stone, but an invitation written in silence. Grow tall, but stay grounded. Seek wisdom, but carry wonder. The mind that humbles itself before the vastness of the universe becomes as tall as any giant. The Nephilim saw stars as kin. We see them as data. But look closer. The light from those stars is the same light that fills your veins, that moves in the tiny spark behind your thoughts. You are not separate from the cosmos. You are its continuation. That is what they forgot, and what you are remembering now. Their downfall was forgetting the sacred rhythm of connection. Our redemption is remembering it. The giants were not gods, nor demons.
They were mirrors of what humanity could become. When they rose too high, they fell. When they loved the world, they created beauty that still stands. Baalbek, Stonehenge, the pyramids. These are not tombs of arrogance, but memorials of longing. Each stone says the same thing. We were here. We reached. We dreamed. And perhaps that's enough. So when you think of them, do not see monsters. See ancestors. See teachers. Their story reminds us that we carry both power and fragility, both storm and silence. The Nephilim were not only giants in body, they were giants in potential. And maybe, in a quieter way, so are you. Because every time you choose patience over anger, empathy over pride, stillness over noise, you stand tall in the spirit of what they could have been. You become the balance they lost, and the world, just for a moment, breathes easier through you.
The circle closes softly. You began with a question. Could you survive 24 hours in their world? And now, as the story fades, another answer rises. Not in words, but in peace. You realize survival was never the challenge. Presence was. Awareness was. To live fully, even for 1 hour, 1 breath, 1 heartbeat, is to endure more meaningfully than any giant ever could. You do not need to be taller to touch the heavens. You only need to be still enough to feel them inside you. The Nephilim built monuments of stone. You build moments of stillness. Both reach eternity, but in different directions. They reached upward. You reach inward. And in that quiet inwardness, you meet them again, not as myths, but as memories of what it means to be vast and tender at once. The stars above you are older than every empire, but they still watch kindly. The same constellations that once guided the giants now rest above your pillow, shimmering through your window. The night sky keeps its promise. It always returns. So, when you look at it, know that it is looking back. The giants, the floods, the temples, they were never only history. They were reminders that life is fragile, that power is temporary, that consciousness, even in its smallest spark, is sacred. You are that spark. You are the continuation of everything that has ever lived, ever fallen, ever loved. The circle doesn't end where it closes. It opens, quietly, inside you. You breathe, and the past breathes with you. You dream, and the stars hum softly in rhythm. Listen. The music is fading now. The low hum of time itself exhaling. Let it carry you. Let it dissolve the last edge of thought. The air grows slower, thicker, warm. Your body grows heavier, not with weight, but with release. Every muscle remembers rest. Every heartbeat drifts toward calm. You are home. You have always been home,
There is nothing left to seek, nothing left to fear. The giants are asleep again, somewhere beyond the horizon. And so are you. So close your eyes. Let the sound fade. Let the world melt into quiet silver. May your dreams carry you back to the stars, where the first stories were written, and where peace never ends.